Hey guys, and welcome back. And welcome to part 5 of the 6th video project that I'm working on, where I take cars from previous Gran Turismo games and rate them on a scale of how likely they are to actually come back into the series. Today, we are gonna be talking about cars from Gran Turismo 5. So if you were ever curious about why I'm not talking about cars such as the 90s JDMs and 90s JGTC cars and whatnot, the fact that we are covering only newcomers from Gran Turismo 5 is exactly why. And so with that clarified, let's get on with the actual list. Starting off with the AEM S2000. And being honest, despite Polyphony saying something about wanting to bring back SEMA winners, I unfortunately do not see that happening yet. Now, I know this is the more likely premium version of the Twin Spark, but even then, I unfortunately do not see it being brought back because Alfa Romeo does not have much priority at the moment. And same can be said for the Brera, even though it's way more likely. I can't help but feel like the Art Morrison Corvette, at least the C1, got replaced by the regular C1 Corvette. This may be on the leaked list, however, I do not see that really increasing its chances of returning. There is a possibility of some Le Mans prototypes being brought back, but this is probably not one of them, being honest. I feel like having two 3-liter variants of the Audi TT in the game could be redundant, which pretty much highlights the problem with this car. It'd be seen as nothing but a duplicate if it was brought back. Now, despite this one being the premium, this is actually the less likely variant of the RS6 Avant to come back. And the data mines are all the proof you need. Just like the TT, it'd be seen as nothing but a duplicate to the one we already have. Given the sole fact that this car is on the data mines, drastically increases its chances of being added. And that's saying a lot given how bottom priority GT300s are nowadays in the series. Now, I do see this actually being the Blitz that comes back if Blitz itself returns to the series. But whether or not Blitz comes back is entirely debatable. Even though it's not a miracle like the ones from last video, you know, when we're on the topic of the 1 series, I still do not see it being much of a priority. As for the TII concept version of it, let's just say I don't really see it being more likely than the regular one. If it were to be brought back, people would probably see it as a duplicate to the Z4 that we already have. Which is exactly why it shouldn't be a surprise that I don't see it returning. Just like the RS6 Avant from earlier, it's kinda surprising that the premium one is less likely than the standard one. This is not coming back purely to the fact that both this and the year 2000 model of it got replaced by the 2001. Despite the fact that it would be a duplicate to the ZR1, I really do not see any other Chevrolets in this game being more likely. Which is no surprise given it's going up against two cars that got replaced by different model years. I'd say this is the most likely Citroen to return along with the Xantia, but being honest, that does not say much. While the WRC version of it is pretty much doomed to not return, and so is the GT by Citroen concept because, well, duh, it's a concept car. And so is the OFC1, causing it to join the GT by Citroen concept in E tier. The Challenger SRT8 likely got replaced by the Challenger Demon heading into GT7. So yeah, safe to say this car pretty much follows the trend of being replaced by a different model. Which I don't see the same thing happening with the Viper ACR. I feel like this is probably gonna be the next most likely car to return for Dodge. The same way how I see the 599 as the most likely Ferrari to be brought back next. And unfortunately for the people who like those cars, the same cannot really be said for the California or the SP1. I know this suffers from being a car for the casuals, but I wouldn't say as much as most of the cars we've already talked about. If the 2000s Ford Mustang ever comes back, I definitely see it being this one. This pretty much follows what I said about the C4 WRC, because it's pretty much doomed to not come back. Automatic F tier for these 3 cars, no questions. Out of all the SEMA winners that they can possibly bring back, I could see it actually being the Grand Touring Garage, which unfortunately the same cannot be said for the high-end performance. Even though this car isn't a lost cause like the HKS Sylvia, I unfortunately still do not see it being the tuner car that they bring back. This is pretty much one of those Japanese cars that people are probably wondering why it's not brought back yet. And the fact that it's both talked about and a premium instantly bumps it up to a C tier, which the same cannot be said about the premium S2000. You know why? Because it got replaced by the 1999 heading into GT Sport, which you definitely cannot say for the sedan version of the Civic, given we do not have any Civics from that time period. Hell, at the moment there's only like one Honda from the 2000s that we have. Even though this is the more likely Honda in sight, I don't really see it being higher than a D tier. And the same thing can be argued for the CRZ-A, given there's not much of a demand for either of those two. Nor do I see the return of HPA Motorsports as a priority. The fact that this is probably gonna be the only Infiniti they ever bring back is saying quite a lot actually, and pretty much shows us how Infiniti is no longer a priority. Either way, this is not coming back because it's a concept car. The fact that the car made it into GT5 at all is a miracle on its own, which even though you can't say the same thing for this car, I still don't see it being likely. Same can be said for the XFR most likely, given that despite not appearing in GT PSP and being a 2010 model year, it's still a standard for some reason. Jaguar itself is not much of a priority, which means that this joins most of the other cars from Jaguar in D tier. The Murcielago SV may be talked about, but I do not really see it arriving in GT7's life cycle. And as much people would beg to differ, the same can be said for the ISF. And if that car is not returning, I can guarantee you the Wet Sport IS350 is not coming back either. Or the ISF racing concept, which, as the name suggests, is just a race car concept. Given that this actually appeared in GT Sport's beta versions, I'd say this is on par with the Esprit V8 in terms of likeliness. Out of all the premium models of Mazda in the game, I don't really see the Atenza being the one that gets the priority. In fact, I think they'd rather give the priority to the 2007 Roadster RS instead. Another case of a car that got replaced by a different model year. The actual real-life car got destroyed in a fire, therefore making it lost media and an instant F tier. Man, it's really unfortunate to see that a lot of these premiums from GT5 got replaced by newer models or just different model years in general. And the Mainz Skyline is another example of that. Mini in general did not get anything in GT7's life cycle, so yeah. Even the most likely Minis are a D tier at best. It's not coming back because it got replaced by the Evo 9 MR, and this is not coming back because it got replaced by the 2015. As for this thing, safe to say it's more of a miracle than an actual possibility. I don't think much needs to be said about this one, it's a concept car. I seriously do not see why they'd want to bring back the not Skyline over any other premium in the game. Nor do I see them bringing back the Xenovi Nismo Z or the March 12 SR, given there are way better cars that they can bring back. And out of all the Nissans on this list specifically, I'd say this is the second most likely. Yes, I said second, because the most likely one is obviously the 2007 Nissan GT-R. Unfortunately, this Le Mans prototype is being dragged down by the sole fact that it's one of the very few cars on this list that are a standard. Even though this is the premium one, I'd still say the likeliness is on par with the standard one. Same can be said for the 207, as its likeliness is pretty much on par with every other Peugeot for the casuals. This pretty much follows what I said earlier about the Garaya. It's not a lost cause purely to the fact that it appears on the data mines. Meanwhile, this is pretty much unlikely because it's another one of those casual cars. I know this was a cool rally car to have, but that one reason alone doesn't immediately make it a possibility. The hatchback version of the Impreza may not be the least likely thing, but it's also not the most likely either. Its WRC variant, however, is definitely one of those cars that are not coming back. And as many people refuse to accept reality, neither will the Super GT Impreza. But that's okay for the Impreza fans, given there's another Impreza that is pretty much guaranteed to be added in the future. This really is another case of key cars that are not likely at all. And out of all the premiums in this game that they can bring back, do you really think one of them is gonna be the Tesla Roadster? Even though this would be a welcome addition, I don't really see it being all that likely. I hate having to repeat myself, but I'll say it again. The Vitz, just like every other one we've talked about, is not likely, and even if it was, it would just get a ton of backlash if it was brought back. Despite them being very neat additions, I unfortunately do not see the Kubelwagen or the Schwimmwagen coming back unless a miracle happens. And finally, the Volvo C30R design is not very likely, but it still is the most likely Volvo to return. And overall, that is the list. A great selection of GT5 newcomers that didn't return to the latest installment. As usual, if you agree or disagree with any of the points I've made, let me know in the comments section. And I hope you stay tuned for the 6th and final video of the project that will come out in 2 weeks. But until then, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time.